You know as well as I do, the college football playoff is about to change. Or we think we know that, right? Because every other headline every day is about that. And you know that all the higher-ups, the high-level mustaches, the suits and whatnot, they've been meeting about what they're going to do in 2026 and how many teams are going to be in the playoff. Are there going to be automatic qualifier spots? Is it just going to be straight seeding? Oh, just blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. All this has been going on. We've been talking about it on this show, too. And it sounds like things aren't clearing up. In fact, it sounds like they're getting messier by the day. You know when you're starting to descend, if you're about to land, normally you go through clouds. But what do you usually know? You usually know we're going to go through clouds, 10,000 feet, 8,000 feet, 5,000. But about the time you get to 5,000 feet, whoosh, you come through the clouds. And then you can see the ground. And then you hear the landing gear deploy, and then you land, and you're good to go. But we're not coming out of the clouds. We've been in them for a while. And I'm starting to think that it's just foggy everywhere, and we may not end up landing this thing. So Ross Dellinger doing a really good job covering this, and he just put out one of several articles he's written lately on yahoosports.com the other day. I'm not going to read you the whole thing. You can go read it if you want to. There's not really that big an update, except he's trying to say this thing's not figured out, and it's not getting figured out right now. I've got a paragraph on the screen right now. This is just an example of the body of the article. I'm going to read it for you. It's just out of context, taking a little clip from it. The fight, it appears, is getting messy. Negotiations among the 4 power conference commissioners, they've started meeting separately from the other leaders, have produced disagreement. Discord lingers over the amount of automatic qualifiers designated for each conference. So not surprisingly, the SEC and the Big Ten want guarantees, and no one else wants to give it to them. The ACC just had their spring meetings. It will not shock you to learn there was zero support on Amelia Island for the SEC and the Big Ten to have guaranteed anything. The coaches didn't like it. The athletic directors didn't like it. Again, this is not breaking news. It's just that I guess a lot of folks kind of assumed, well, the more we get down the road, the more they'll come to compromise, or the big boys may get their way, or they may resolve this, and they may trade that, and it's just not happening. And there's no commissioner at large, there's no college football commissioner in the room to say, you guys better get this done, or I'm getting it done for you. And so we have this. So everyone's wondering when this playoff drama will get itself figured out. When will we get the new playoff format figured out? And I'm going to ask you a question on tonight's show that I asked a year ago. Who says it will get figured out? Who says it will? What are you talking about, Josh? It's got to get figured out. Who says it has to get figured out? So this is not a new theme on this show. I'm going to take you back to a year ago when, believe it or not, this same topic was being discussed on this same show, and I said something then that I'm going to reiterate in just a few seconds. Roll it, Colin.
How will all this get sorted out, people want to know. Maybe it won't. Maybe we'll come to an impasse. Maybe it doesn't get decided by the deadline. Maybe the SEC and the Big Ten look you across the table and say the 2 most important words that I think they're trying to get to all the while, and that is, we tried. We tried.
I've been a big believer during this whole process that the SEC and the Big Ten, unlike other institutions out there, have had one guiding North Star, and that is eventually they want to get to a world that looks like the NFC and the AFC, or the NFL model. Only in college football terms, it would be SEC, Big Ten. And however you get to that's however you get to that. It's no different than a GPS. I'm in Nashville right now. If I want to get to Albuquerque and I type in Albuquerque, New Mexico, it's going to offer me 5 different routes. And I could zigzag my way there, but I know the direction I'm headed is generally west, and generally I'm going towards Albuquerque because that's where I'm going to end up. And I feel like this process has been the same thing. You get so far down in the weeds. You put the magnifying glass on the story, and there's new details and new breaking reports and anonymous source this and league officials say that. But if you just zoom it out, hey, quick time out. Check and see if you're subscribed to the channel. If you're not, make sure you do. It's free. It doesn't obligate you or sign you up for anything. It just helps us keep the channel free. All right, back to the show. Think about this for a second. If they were headed that direction, how would they do anything different than they've already done? They expanded their conferences, which was the trigger point for this whole thing. Make no mistake, the entire premise of the SEC and the Big Ten having the audacity to even assume everyone would go along with them getting added beneficial seats at a table is they think they've earned it or deserve it because they're disproportionately more powerful than everyone else, which they can reasonably claim because they went and swallowed up Texas and Oklahoma. They went and swallowed up Oregon and USC. There are very few primetime player college football brands out there that don't have an SEC or a Big Ten helmet sticker. Notre Dame's one, Clemson's one, but there aren't many out there anymore. So it all started, the trigger point, the flashpoint was conference realignment. Then you get a little bit further down the road, 100 or 200 breaking news stories later, we're trying to restructure the playoff. And I'm telling you, if I were them and I wanted to get to the end goal of NFC, AFC, Big Ten, SEC rules the world, this is how I'd do it. I would muddy the water enough. I would put out unrealistic, unreasonable proposals that I know my peers will not go along with because my goal is not for them to accept my proposal. If they're stupid enough to, good. If they're desperate enough to, good. We win either way. But my real goal is to have them call my bluff so that I can throw my hands up and say, we tried, so that I can go do what I really wanted to do. And what I really want to do is sign off with any of a number of major brands that are ready to buy the media rights deals to the SEC and the Big Ten just doing their own thing. Because it's in the best interest of college football? No. But again, there's no one in the room that's looking out for the best interest of college football. And so, until you get that, this could be the trajectory that we remain on. The evergreen issue here is everybody's points are valid. That's the evergreen issue. That's why you're not going to have resolution in this, or it's hard to imagine. Unless someone completely caves, it's hard to imagine the ACC ever saying, okay, that's fine, take all your automatic qualifier spots. Or the Big 12 saying that. It's just hard to imagine it. If they do, they do. But if they do, that means they totally caved, and the SEC and the Big Ten won anyway. But see, here's the thing about it. As much as it sounds like I'm trashing the power two there, well, that's because I sit behind a microphone and I love the sport. I don't love two conferences. But if I were Tony Petiti or if I were Greg Sankey, my job's to answer to my university presidents. Those are my bosses, by the way. And my bosses have told me, acquire as much power and influence as you possibly can. Make this conference as profitable as you possibly can. It's how we fund all of this. Do you know what Auburn University is minus Auburn football? Do you know what Purdue is minus Purdue football, for that matter, or Michigan State or LSU? So all of this stuff operates based on athletic revenue. Make it as profitable as possible. You don't have a college football commissioner you have to answer to, by the way. So you can go do whatever you want to. It's really crazy, but that's the reality. And so, if I were them, I do either one of two things. I do what they're telling me to do, or I get fired and they find someone else who will. So if I were Greg Sankey or if I were Tony Petiti, I can't definitively say I wouldn't do the same thing. My point is, at the very least, they sit at the table and they say, hold up. We're playing the toughest schedules in the country. We're bringing in the most money in the country. 90% of the best teams are in our conferences anyway. You're balking at us demanding the bare minimum? We ought to just take it all. At least we're offering you something. That's literally their attitude. So they think they have logic-based reasoning behind that. And then on the other side, if you're the ACC commissioner, you're looking at it and saying, you have completely pillaged and plundered everything about this sport. If you're the Big 12 commissioner, you're saying the same thing. And the last little bastion of opportunity we have is the playoff, and now you want to swallow up all the seats at the table there? Absolutely not. That's also logical. You see my point there. Every bit of it's logical. Now, you, if you're watching or listening, you certainly have a point of view, and you hate the other side. You hate their point of view. But I'm just watching it and I'm thinking there's no way we're going to get resolution because everyone thinks they're right. And unlike other sports and other places out there where there's a lot on the line, there's no gavel. There's no judge that ultimately rules on this. It's just kind of Tears for Fears mode. Everybody wants to rule the world. And that's where we are right now. So playoff headlines still to come. Resolution nowhere in sight. Can't wait to see how that turns out.